everyone, Amy here with Duncan with another aha moment. This one needs a little bit of a backstory though. Recently, you ready, Duncan? We're going to tell him the story? Yeah, we're going to tell him. Tell him my aha moment. Anyway, the backstory, I know, I love you too. The backstory goes like this. I recently took a trip with some friends, and I met them for about 4 days, and I had made all the accommodations for my family and for Duncan while I was away. And my husband was basically supposed to take care of him, except for about 1 day where I actually had somebody that I had hired to come in and take care of the dog. And I just get to my destination and my husband calls or texts me and tells me, I've had an opportunity to go to an air show, so we need coverage for Duncan. I was like, oh, we? And yes, I decided to take on that responsibility, which made me very irritated, frustrated, and angry that I had covered everything I needed to, and now some curveball came at me that I felt like he should have taken care of. If he's going to take on the another opportunity, that he should take care of his initial responsibility that he had agreed to, which was take care of the dog. But we're not going to go there. I went ahead and made the, I texted, some people that I know to make sure that I had coverage for Duncan. Because he took on this air show, he would no longer be able to pick me up at the airport when I returned. So he said he would drop a car off at the airport garage, and I told him I don't have a car. I don't have a key. And he said, don't worry, it'll work. I'll make it work. Don't worry, everything will work. I said, again, I don't have a way into the car. And so you know where I'm going with this, right? Fast forward, I get home after not sleeping much because I had a lot of fun with my friends, and I was on an 8-hour trip back in the last row coach of this airplane right by the bathroom, so I didn't get any sleep there either. And I get home, I have to walk a long way to get to the car in the cold. And when I got there, couldn't get in. Now, the good news is that while I was walking through the airport, I actually ran into a friend of mine who lives near me, and I actually had his phone number, so I gave him a quick call and said, are you still at the airport? Could you take me home? And luckily, he was able to take me home. So I got home just fine. And when I got home, I texted my husband and said, I got home safely. I'm at home. And his response was, oh, good, you found the car and were able to get in. And all I typed back was, no. I didn't say exclamation point. I didn't have any expletives. I just said no. And I told him, I can't talk to you right now because the things that I might say are probably very unkind. Now, I have to tell you guys, that's huge for me because I don't know about you, but when he makes me angry or frustrated or disappointed, the first thing I want to do is get on the phone and just scream up one side and down the other. And, you frustrated me. And of course, it does absolutely no good. But I have a tendency to do that anyway. I was so tired, I didn't even feel like I had enough energy to even do that conversation. So I went to bed. And I woke up today, and here comes my aha moment. Thank you for staying with me. This is my aha moment. I realized that it was not so much what he had done but it was the story I created in my head and the meaning I gave it. So here, go with me for a minute here. I'm sure in his book, he did great by me. You know, he made accommodations and he made sure I had a car so I could get home. In my head, he didn't care about me, because if he cared about me, he would have parked it closer so I didn't have to walk so darn far, and he would have made sure I could get into that car. And because he didn't, in my head, I'm taking ownership of this. I created the story, my husband doesn't love me, my husband doesn't care about me, he has other priorities other than me, and that is the meaning and the story that I actually attach to that action. So here's what when I came home and I didn't do all that, that's what I realized. My aha moment is not that I'm angry at him for that, but that I'm feeling as a result of his action, but I'm creating it all. Because let's face it, ladies, I could have very easily, when he had gotten in touch with me when I just arrived at my destination and said he needed coverage for Duncan, I could have very easily have texted him the phone number, which of course he already had, but I could have texted him the phone number of the people that he could call to take care of the dog and let him do it. But in all honesty, I didn't trust him to do it and do it the way I would have done it. So I took that responsibility on. So I have no one to be angry with except myself. I very well could have just put it back on him and said, here's the number. Good luck. If you don't find someone, you're obviously not going to be able to go. But in my heart of hearts, I was afraid that he wouldn't get the accommodation and then he would go anyway, which of course he would never do. He would never do. So that's on me. I need to take responsibility for that. The conversation that's going to happen tonight is going to be he doesn't get home until much later. And the conversation is going to go so very different than the one that, Duncan, don't do it. Oh my goodness. He almost hit the camera. The conversation is going to go very differently, because had I had the conversation last night when I got home, it would have been something like, why are you such a blankety blank blank blank? You never blah 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 blah, right? And that's not what I plan to do tonight. So why don't I take it one step further? As somebody so nicely pointed out to me, Amy, it's great that you have those aha moments, but what are you going to do with it? Like, great. You now realize that it isn't so much his actions, but the story and the meaning that you attach to those actions that is really what's making your panties in a wad. So what are you going to do with that? And here's what I've decided to do. I've decided to have a conversation with him. But like I said, the conversation's going to go very differently. The conversation I plan to have with him tonight is going to go something along the lines of, you know, I understand that you had the opportunity, but because I came home and the car was parked so far away that I had to walk in the cold quite a distance to get there, makes me feel that I'm not important and that I'm not loved. Because in my head, had you loved me, you would have parked it closer. You would have gone around like I do. Ladies, let's face it, I've had to drop off a car for him, and I get there early because I know the garage is going to be full, and I go around like for 10 minutes looking and waiting for someone to pull out that's going to be a much more convenient parking space for him. And so I was feeling like, you know, he didn't really care. So that's the conversation I'm going to have with him. And I'm also going to take it a step further and say, I'm feeling unloved. I'm feeling uncared for. And I've figured out that in order for me to feel loved and cared for, you got to know your love language, ladies. You got to know how you like to be, for people to show you they love you. And yes, it could be a variety of ways. In this instance, I would say what I need is to feel loved by you. And I need you to show it to me in these ways. Whether it's, telling me, whatever, that I'm appreciated, or doing little things for me. Because, let's face it, had I felt loved, then the action of what he did, I probably would have just dismissed. I would have been, he tried. Life goes on. Luckily, my friend was there to take me home, and we'll just deal with the car later. And I would have moved about my day. But when I attach meaning to the action, when I take that action personally, and sitting here now talking to you, he probably thinks, I did great. I made sure she had the car, and I parked it in a garage, the closest garage to the terminal. And so I did great. I made sure all my bases were covered. He wouldn't understand why I would be so angry. So taking it that step further and explaining that I personalized it, which again is on me, and this is how I need to be loved, it's a whole different conversation than the finger pointing, you're a jerk, you're a blankety blank, why don't you, I'm internalizing it and saying, I created the story, and it made me realize that I need to feel your love in a different way, and this is how I need to feel it, which is a totally different conversation. I'm also going to take it a step further and ask, how can I express my love for you? Am I expressing my love for you in a way that you're hearing? And if not, how do I need to be better at it? So it's more of a conversation and not an attack. Anyway, that's my aha moment. I hope that it has helped you. And if it has, leave a comment below. Let me know if there's a situation in your life that someone has done something or said something or not done something, and you created more meaning or more, a story wrapped around it that you internalized. And how might you have been able to handle it differently, or how are you going to handle it differently now that you know my aha moment? Anyway, I hope that you're having a great day, and I'll check back at you later. See ya. Bye.